Welcome to Gareth Jones on Speed. I'm Gareth Jones, and this week I'm excited about my BMW 525 SE diesel touring M Sport, but more on that later. What are you excited about, Zoke?
I'm excited about my new stereo.
Oh, what's your new stereo?
Well, I've replaced the previous 1992 era Alpine head unit with a kind of sort of 2005 era Alpine head unit.
Early adopter.
And this means
does it play like mini discs or something?
Hey, don't knock mini disc, dude. It's a big conversation, but I can interface my iPod with the new stereo without the slightly awkward, but even if I say so myself, ingenious bit of rewiring that I'd come up with before, so that's exciting.
That's reason to be exciting, absolutely. Richard, what are you excited about?
Well, I was thinking of something that I was excited about. I found exciting a couple of weeks ago. I drove that Mitsubishi i-car, you know, that really zany Japanese cake car thing. Yeah, it's all I.
Was it good?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's sort of technically flawed, but I like cars that are flawed. What I'd like about it is it's sort of like the car that the Smart 444 should have been. Rear-engined, clever constructions, made of aluminium. It's an aluminium space frame. Yeah. So it's quite light, but supposedly very strong.
Multiplet.
Yeah, that was steel though. So
it was a steel space frame. You're right, absolutely right.
What I like about it is that Mitsubishi sell those funny little K cars. You know, those little narrow
440 centimeters width,
something like that. Yeah, and 660cc, something like that.
And you used to have one, mate. You used to have a cappuccino.
Oh,
K-car?
Yeah, exactly. We know the sort of thing that most of them are just little sort of front-wheel drive boxes, like Daihatsu Charade, which is a great car, but it's just a little box. Front-wheel drive, front-engine, tin box. And what I like about the the i-car, rather, is that considering Mitsubishi are in financial poo-poo at the moment and trying to get out of it,
that's a motor industry term.
Technical, don't try and understand it. And they've spent the money on doing something a bit different, and it works really well. Very long wheelbase for its size, so it rides quite nicely in town. It's an automatic, but that's another good thing in London. It's 0 to 60 time is tragically bad, but it's 0 to 30 time, I'm willing to bet, is superb, because it just scoots away from the lights.
Very low mass.
Makes this little growly noise. Very economical. And what it just made me think about is that in this time when cars are under attack for pollution and all sorts of evils and piracy and treason and things like that, that you can still have fun in a car that's been very well designed and very, very fit for purpose. And I thought, well, Mitsubishi have sort of taken the Smart concept and made it work for a four-door bigger car where Smart themselves couldn't. What if they then had another crack at the Smart Roadster, the Mitsubishi i-Roadster? I'd be interested.
Yeah.
The Smart Roadster is potentially still living on. There are plans for AC to build it in South Wales.
That's gone quiet.
I know, I've been reading about it this week. There's been nothing really since December, but they haven't said no, it's stopped, but it may not happen.
I love the Smart Roadster. It's a really great
because I had one for a year as a long-term test car from eBay. Of all the cars that I have owned or run, that is the one that I miss the most, even though technically it was the most flawed. And I was only looking at them today on the internet, looking at second-hand ones and thinking, I really, really think I'm going to buy another one of those.
Well, hopefully that you will be able to, if they do build what's now going to be called the AC Ace with a Mitsubishi engine in it and a proper Get-Track 5-speed gearbox, as opposed to but have you seen what it looks like? The Smart Roadster was gorgeous. An interpretation in the guise of an AC, the AC Ace. It's beautiful. I hope it happens.
The thing that I want to know is, given that we're so excited about it, why did they stop making it?
Because
was there really not enough demand for it?
Well, this is the weird thing. I don't know about the rest of Europe. It didn't do very well. But what was interesting was in Britain, when they announced that they were going to stop making it, demand rocketed, and Smart UK had to beg the factory to make sure the last batch were right-hand drive UK cars, because they just couldn't suddenly get enough of them. But that was after them trickling out of the showrooms for ages.
Interesting.
And actually, second-hand prices have firmed up quite a bit now, I think. The Brabus ones are levelling around 10. They were overpriced to start with, but they're levelling out now. And
you can buy them as well. I was looking online last week. They are around. Now, which brings me, because this is great that we've started the show talking about lightweight, almost futuristic sports cars, city sports cars, because the main thrust of what I want to talk about in this particular programme is the 4x4. Now, 4x4 owners and drivers at the moment are getting an awful lot of flack simply because of the choices that they've made. Now,
I'll give them some flack.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Zog. I will give some of them considerable flack. I will give many others almost no flack whatsoever, because there are lots of good reasons for having a 4x4. Now, admittedly, I was just up in Wales during the summer, staying in a kind of farm. They have an Isuzu Frontera, which is a hopeless road car, but he needs it. He drives into the fields every now and again and off the track, the road, and to get to it, he needs something that can do both. It makes perfect sense. You know, he tows trailers. If you live halfway up a mountain in Switzerland, and it's, you know, you might want a 4x4. Makes perfect sense. You might tow a caravan, you might tow a horse box. You know, they're great reasons.
You're absolutely, getting into the issue there that some people need 4x4s. There is absolutely a place for 4x4s.
Yeah.
But it isn't on city streets. I don't want to be unfair to all 4x4 drivers. I'm slightly caricaturing my own position earlier, but I love Jeeps. I love Land Rovers. Yeah. They're fantastic vehicles.
Amazing what they can do.
But to me, as soon as you stick air conditioning on a 4x4, it's you're going down that sort of slippery slope towards some horrible vehicle that is just. I don't know.
You want to?
I realise that I'm on slightly shaky ground if I accuse somebody of driving a vehicle that burns more fuel than it needs to and takes up more space on the road than it needs to.
We like fast cars.
I'm not driving a moped. I'm driving a sports car, and it burns more fuel than it needs to. It's unnecessarily quick and all kinds of stuff like that.
The phrase "unnecessarily quick." So.
Well, no. But
I know what you're coming to.
My excuse.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. It's fun.
Yes.
It's beautiful. It in my mind, it brightens up everybody's day to have a nice, sleek sports car.
You're contributing to the motoring environment.
How anybody's day is improved by seeing some horrible, Navara or some ridiculous,
Cayenne.
Well,
Cayenne's gone.
There is a whole show there.
Ranger of a sport.
They're just horrible. No, get off the road. They do nothing to justify all of their downsides. Okay, I'm going to stop ranting.
You were talking about farmers and people in places like rural Wales having 4x4s and needing them. Also, I think there's this stuff about whole life costs of a car, and that running an old car can be environmental because you're not scrapping, you're getting the most use out of that piece of equipment, if you like. And I really like that way that I guarantee any time you go to the countryside, if you're an urban dweller, you go to the countryside, you will always see a gloriously shagged Isuzu Trooper. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the BMW corporate presentation. Thank you, calm down, thank you. Now, this evening we are going to show you the future fuel technology from the BMW company. In the past, you may be aware that we have pursued the hydrogen route. However, now we have realized that the infrastructure problems with this fuel have led us to a new solution. And this solution is, as I can tell you now for the first time, helium. Helium contributes to the goal of all car manufacturers, which is to pursue lightness in all automotive design. And helium is the lightest fuel of all. As I will now demonstrate, it's also a very safe fuel. We fuel up the prototype here. As you can see, the inert gas, there is no possible dangers to the people or the side effects. Thank you very much. Thank you as well, thank you. Now pleased to endorse this excellent fuel technology, our celebrity guest for the evening. Please, round of applause.
Hello everybody, hello, the price is right.
Bloody hell, it's Joe Pasquale again.
I'm not Joe Pasquale, I'm James Earl Jones. I'm your father, Luke. Future fuel technologies rule. My money's in helium. I'm asphyxiatic.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to launch of Mazda Motor Company's Future Thinking. As you know, our new Mazda 2 is the lightest car in its class. This gives us a strategic advantage for the future. So in future, all Mazda cars will be as light as possible.
It's David Evans of Car Auto Web Auto
Yes.
UK. Question for you, which is, can you show us an example of the future cars, what you've got planned in line with this lightness philosophy for the future?
Yes, of course. First of all, I would... Family hatchback. Sporting coupe. Poodle, no, wrong one. 4x4, and finally... Oh! Fast, blow away.
We kind of agree on 4x4s, you know. There's often a good need for them. But many people drive 4x4s for probably the wrong reasons, right? Now, I want to offer up an alternative, right? I want to spread this word, educate the world. Hopefully you two guys will agree with me. Most people who think they want a big 4x4 need a nice sporting estate. Right. Now, the best reason of them all is that pound for pound, you're going to get a far more interesting vehicle if you do away with all that useless four-wheel drive and ground clearance that you're just never going to need.
Get yourself a second-hand Mercedes estate.
There you go.
Something like
there
that.
You go.
Fantastic. But, oh.
No, I like to put my money where my mouth is, or something like that. But so I got myself a BMW 5 Series Touring for the summer.
Hang on, how much money did you put?
Yeah. Where did this BMW come from?
From BMW, yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
And it cost...
Well, nothing actually. Yeah, I'm reviewing it for the programme. Well, no, I wrote it.
No, it's all right. I'm breaching EU
You put
hypocrisy laws here, 'cause
money
I've got my free
where
car
your
outside.
mouth.
I wrote to BMW, right, on the behalf of Gareth Jones on Speed, and said, look, I want to take my kids camping and I want to go and do a whole bunch of stuff with a big BMW estate this summer, because I've been looking at some of the CO2 figures, and the 5 Series is about the most efficient of them all. If you want something that has a reasonable amount of performance, and satisfies all those needs. And you look at the CO2 savings between getting a 5 Series and an X5 or any other equivalent 4x4. Hang on,
Yeah, and you get the benefit
figures.
that nobody thinks you're a moron for driving it.
Yeah,
It's a win-win
exactly.
situation.
And guys, I'm on the side of people who like nice cars. I want you to continue driving nice cars, and the way to do it is to sort of just reassess what you think is necessary. And I've got loads of data here, which I can't damn well find. Here we go. The best of the lot, the 520, right, will deliver 136 grams per kilometre CO2, right? Now, the equivalent X Series, the X5, hang on, sorry about all this data, guys, I've been doing loads of research, believe me, is on the other sheet.
Coming very soon. Okay, there we
go. The equivalent
Yeah.
X5 M Sport gives you 27.7 miles per gallon and 244 grams per kilometre.
Equivalent in what? Equivalent in money?
Equivalent in performance. If you want something of the same kind of performance, right? And because it's dragging all that 4x4 stuff around with it, you're getting 240 grams per kilometre. The
bigger frontal area. There's a lot more drag.
Exactly. The car I was in was getting 171 grams per kilometre. That's a heck of a difference. And something like 45, 42 miles per gallon. Diesel.
Well, I mean,
Sorry to be so boring, but I really believe this.
Hey, we're getting to the subject. You're quite right that a lot of people think or say they need a 4x4, because of the space. They've got a young family. We'll leave aside the fact that 30 years ago, people with equal-sized families seem to manage perfectly well without.
We used to get a whole family into like a mini Traveller or something.
Yeah.
Seven kids
Austin
in the
A30. Yeah. Well,
but to finish the point, you can get the same space in an estate car. Yeah. Pretty much. I mean,
and they look cool.
Sure, they're just better.
They look better than the saloon.
A lot of people also have this feeling that a 4x4 is a safer vehicle. Now, I don't know what your take on this is, Richard, but to me it seems that there's an odd thing going on here, which is that there's a very selfish, if understandable, thing going on.
Yeah.
Which is that, you are safer because you're just driving a bigger heavier thing, and the laws of physics dictate that when one thing hits another thing, if you're on the bigger, heavier thing, you get knocked about less, you get hurt less.
Yeah, it's a thing that people don't realise about those Euro NCAP tests, that a 5-star small car, like a Yaris or something, is only 5 stars relative to other cars in its class.
Yeah.
And a big car is most likely to be safer than a small car. You just can't beat having an acreage of metal.
But I think the point you're getting to is that if we all drive lighter cars, we'd be safer.
The point is that if we're all driving these huge hulking things, then it makes it relatively none of us are safer. But also that kind of collectively we're all at a bit more risk because your big hunk of metal 4x4, pedestrians come off much worse in collisions. Cyclists come off much worse in collisions.
They're not
fewer of these vehicles on the road is a good thing for everybody.
It's also active safety, that if you have to swerve suddenly in a 4x4, you're more likely to lose control, just the higher centre of gravity.
Yeah.
And also they tend to be quite heavy. I mean, that Range Rover Sport, which is actually quite a pleasant car to drive, it's quite amusing because it's quick. Same is true the Cayenne. But you do have that sensation of an enormous amount of mass when you try and brake from high speed. You're sensing the brakes are trying their hardest to pull in this thing because they're just so damn hefty that in an emergency, just by dint of, like you say, Gareth, the laws of physics, that's just not going to stop as quickly without you really mashing the pedal.
Add lightness. So, just talking about the capacities of cars, before I had this 5 Series, I also had a 325, and in that, I managed to get 4 seats, enough food for 4 days, 2 small children in their seats, a badminton set.
Wait, they say BMWs are badly equipped. You had to bring your own seats.
4 seats. Did I mention the 4 seats? And a 7-man tent and 4 sleeping bags. So you don't need a 4x4 if you can fit that in the 3 Series Touring, which isn't really a capacious estate. It's useful, isn't it? So just reassess what you need. And here's the thing, though, right? This is why people buy 4x4s. Violet and I and the kids driving along in the BMWs. Said, what do you think, the 3 Series? He says, it's good. It's got everything. It's cool. It's good. It's quick. Kids are happy. We've got all the stuff in. Just doesn't feel special.
Yeah, now I was driving a Range Rover yesterday. Supercharged one as well, which after one of my colleagues at Top Gear had put 90 quid's worth of petrol in it. Ow!
Yeah, now you're feeling special. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you feel like you've just been specially. I'm not going to say what I was going to say because it was rude. Yes, I said something else that involved bottoms. You do feel good in a Range Rover. I'm sorry, but you do. And I think it's overlooking, we've said this before, it's overlooking a basic human desire, which is we like to be up high, looking down on things. That's why the London Eye is a brilliant yet simple tourist attraction, or indeed Blackpool Tire or something like that. Yeah. Because people like to go up high and look down on stuff. We're like cats in that respect. If there was a fence we could sit on, we would, just so we could look down on other things. And I think you get that sense in a 4x4. And your kids in the back can see out more as well.
You do get that sense, but we're getting to a paradox here, because at the same time that yes, we absolutely do, we like the elevation, we like to be up high, we like to survey everything. We also like to be really, really close to the ground.
True. Yeah.
Particularly when we're going around corners. It feels good that way. There's a paradox here.
Yeah. That brings me back to my old Smart Roadster, which the great thing about that was, and one of the reasons it was slightly genius, was that even though it wasn't that quick a car, it felt really fast because you were so low to the ground, and it did give you that all the sensations you crave in a sports car, even though technically it's not really a sports car.
It is the best urban sports car, that I can think of.
So can you stop speaking, because I will go out tomorrow and just go and buy one now. I really want one.
You know it's going to happen eventually. It's going to come.
People are buying 4x4s and cars of elevated driving positions because they want to feel special. Because even given a great little proper performance touring car estate, like the 3 Series Touring I was driving, they didn't feel special. The 5 we were in felt a bit more special, a bit more room. But if you want to feel special, you've got to go up, and that's why people are choosing these taller cars. So can I suggest another compromise? If you really can't do a nice sporting estate, because I took these things off-road and everything into campsites, it was wet, we did it, no problem. Don't need 4-wheel drive, right? It's unnecessary. If you must go for something, go for your what's it called, the Qashqai? The Nissan Qashqai? Or dare I say it, right? buy yourself an old Chrysler Matra Simca Rancho. You know what I'm saying?
That's a bit out of left field.
Right, because it gives you that sort of 4x4 feeling without the unnecessary weight of the 4x4 stuff like this. And
not much necessary weight because they've all rusted.
Those who are left, right? But if you could find one that was left, right? When was it built? Zog, 1974,
78, I think.
Sure.
It came out. Yeah.
When was the transition to Talbot? Because the early models were Chrysler, the later ones were Talbot.
Transition to Talbot was about 81.
Good lad. So right, if you could find one, that car's been going so long now. There's the epitome of the green car for you. And Zog, I'm returning to something you talk about, taking into consideration the initial manufacture of the car when calculating how green it is. How old it is.
Well, this is something that we would, before we got down to recording, we were just talking about that this is a subject that we would like to know more about. I certainly want to know more about this because I realise that I don't know what the carbon footprint of a car's production and life cycle of maintenance and then disposal is, and how that compares to the fuel it's going to burn, and that's an interesting thing to look at. I don't know how the numbers stack up, and I'd like to know.
I'd like to know. So 2 points here.
So if anyone knows, drop us a line.
Here's the thing. What is it, Gareth?
I suspect
what's it? On speed at GarethJones.tv?
That's it.
Right.
That's it. On speed.
I've only been doing this for
right to onspeed at GarethJones.tv, as some people have. Well, in fact, our listener has written in. Right, where is it? It's here. Our listener, Mark Elvin, has written in, "Hi guys, having recently been alerted to the wondrous thing that is the iPod, I stumbled across your show. I'm a former design engineer with Williams F1.
That's a classier sort of listener.
And a split personality petrol head. One side of me loves motor racing and all things fast and powerful. The other worries about the environment. To this end, I race at the weekend and drive a Honda Insight as a commuter car." That's the Honda hybrid. So he's in the States.
He's the kind of man to answer this question.
Yeah. All I can say is love the show. Bloody brilliant. We're allowed to swear in that context, I think. Thoroughly entertaining, thank you. Any chance you can make the podcast longer as they're far too short?
We're working on it.
We'll just slow down when we talk. We're working on it. Some material for your show, he says. Have a look on Google for the Aptera car. Love to hear what you guys would have to say about it. We've had a quick glance. Zog, did you get an opinion?
First impression was I thought it looks to me like a very exciting thing because it's futuristic looking in a good way to me. It's lightweight. And by the looks of it, it can shift.
Let's describe it for those who haven't seen it. It's a trike. It seems to have a particularly aerodynamic shell, perhaps more in the shape of a helicopter cockpit or a very light plane. I mean, not an ultralight, but a light plane. Carbon fibre composites, the aerodynamics. It's got an undercambered section to make the aerodynamics push it forward. It's a bit like Joe 90's dad's car. In fact, the front wheels are kind of on those legs that reach out forward, and it's a single rear like a Grinnell Scorpion.
I didn't have a clue what the bloody hell was going on
That's
on
the
their
trouble.
Website.
Yeah.
There's a video of them testing it around an industrial estate at night.
Yes, bonkers.
Which is weird.
And the engine sound was fascinating because
I
think
weird.
We all picked up on this.
Like a jet or a Highcaster, I don't know.
But it sounds like a V8 at first, and then kind of gets all sort of whiny.
I think it's something to do with
It should be a small engine. What's going on?
I don't know.
I think it's something to do with the Antari Automotive X Prize for a car that'll do 100 miles to the gallon, possibly. I'm going to look more into this and we'll talk about it in a future show.
Well, just to recap as well, so on speed at GarethJones.tv if A, you know about whole life costs of cars with facts and figures and proper knowledge. B, if you know more about this Antara thing, which we don't. Aptera. And C, if you have ever seen a Matra Rancho in the past year, or you own a Matra Rancho, please let me know. I am genuinely fascinated to know if there's any left in Britain.
Me too, loved them. Say bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, a 4x4 is a very good idea if you live in the country and have snow for half a year. But going out the road means parking underground, and you should drive a cuter car as you run around. Choose your car for its distinctive appearance. There are other ways to achieve this without massive ground clearance. You don't need a 4x4 neither does your wife. Get yourself a lighter car and get yourself a life. Get alive, four-wheel driver, get alive. Being economical is not just for the wife. Get alive, Mr. Driver, only a damn fool will arrive at his conclusion that's so minor. Using so much fuel is not just right. Oh, the cost of fuel is way over the top. Spending lots on hydrocarbons has to stop. It's far, far worse when your Land Rover is cursed. A scientific prediction, inefficiency due to friction will empty all the silver in your purse. It's an absolute bummer if you choose to drive a Hummer. Climate change don't mean we're going to get perpetual summer. Don't say you missed the warning, but due to global warming, when that polar ice caps melt and that tsunami drowns your daughter, only then you'll need a Shogun which can wade through 3 feet of keep cold wet water. Get alive, four-wheel driver, get alive. Being ecological is not just for your wife. Get alive, Mr. Driver, only a damn fool will arrive at his conclusion that's so minor. Using so much fuel is not just right. Oh, if you really must arrive in a four-wheel drive, then why not choose an option that will keep this world alive? Don't sit in a driving seat 4 foot off the floor. Get something green and weeny like a Panda 4x4. Don't need a heavy car to still enjoy performance. There are Rocky cars available which are simply not enormous. Get yourself a lightweight car, at least an aerial item. You'll be green when the light turns green but still be up and atom. Get alive, four-wheel driver, get alive. Being ecological is not just for the wife. Get alive, Mr. Driver, only a damn fool will arrive at conclusion that's no matter. Using so much fuel is just right. Oh. Come on, hold your head up high and frankly stand erect. Even though you're a petrolhead, you're politically correct. Biofuel drinker. You can subscribe to Gareth Jones on Speed at the iTunes Store. You can find out more about the show at www.garethjones.tv or email us at onspeed@garethjones.tv. Gareth Jones on Speed was a whiz-bang production and was entirely biodegradable.